Hi, I'm Nicola. I'm on B with Anna Brand, who's sitting there, and we're just going to have a very long, apparently, conversation about all the things.
Yeah.
I love the branding, and I love the whole B and the whole song and the whole music and the whole, that was lush.
Aww.
It's grand.
Do you like that? It's really important that, isn't it, for us, that it's just a conversation.
Yeah.
We're not.
It's very conversational.
Yeah.
It's lush.
We don't want to do an interview. We first started talking about, like, when you're in a network, and when you're in a, like when me and you might get together and go off to the side and have a chat about something, whether it's personal or business, or they all interlink anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what, if somebody else just joined in this conversation, they would find it really valuable. Because we're talking about stuff that everyone either has experienced, is going to, is struggling with now. And I just think people fluff over things too much.
I know. They do.
Especially on social media, which obviously you already know.
Well, because you're trying to protect yourself all the time, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to protect yourself against the unknown. So for me, a lot of people are so scared of what might happen, but of course what might happen is imagined. It's not real.
But
it's not real. Are we recording this? Are you already recording this?
I might have stealth.
Yes. No, I saw you doing it. I thought, I've started because I want to do me hi. I'm Nicola. I'm here.
You have to do that at the end, doesn't you?
Right.
We'll make everyone do it at the end.
Because that was funny. I was like, because that's when everybody was most uncomfortable.
I know.
When they had to actually present themselves.
Exactly.
It was really fascinating.
Even though they were being themselves the whole time.
But talking about themselves and actually making themselves be it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nicola. Right?
Yeah.
That, it was really interesting watching everybody's body language completely change. So there's an
really
obvious and absolute getting used to it and being more comfortable.
Yeah, people are different at the start to the
But when they're trying to do that, it's almost like there's a pitch. There's almost like that moment of pitching.
Exactly.
And you can just see the body language completely change. Right. And like everybody kind of goes like this, and hi, I'm Nicola, and blah 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 blah, and the whole vibe changes.
And it's actually
really fascinating.
You doing that as well. That's really funny, because the fact that they've just sat there for an hour,
and been totally comfy
and totally comfortable,
but that moment,
and then all of a sudden
they're
putting themselves as if we haven't just seen you for an hour anyway.
And so that's that expectation that, oh my God, you might get judged. I've just realised this is being filmed. People are going to see this. What's going to happen? What are they going to think?
But yet, how come during the whole hour they already know that?
Because you forget, don't you? Like Neil says, although the lights, you kind of forget with the lights.
No.
But you forget because you were having an intimate conversation, and then all of a sudden you remember it's for a purpose. It's not just and like you have to then present yourself and say your name, and
maybe it's that for a
totally
purpose
changes.
bit then. Maybe it's that bit because just having a conversation about something is quite relaxing, and then as soon as I say, right now there's a purpose for this particular minute,
it changes your psychology completely. Changes what you think it's for. It brings you back to, what are you doing sitting here? So we were talking about purposefulness yesterday, right? Everything has to be with purpose, but if you get relaxed and you let your guard down a bit, you're just having a conversation until it's for the purpose.
And which is going back, so when we've always talked about people putting themselves out there and being themselves, it's almost like unlearning that, trying to, yes, you're doing it for a purpose, but it's unlearning that way that you show up as soon as there's a camera out there, or when you're at a networking meeting.
Just how do you show up, right? When you think when there is a moment that you think you could be judged, certainly in the ADHD community, all we do is think there's someone's going to say something bad, right? And it's going to be our fault, and we're going to get judged, and we're going to feel shit about it, and all this kind of stuff. So you're always hyper aware of that. So how you show up then has to be based on almost this negative narrative. You're not showing up to just go, hi, like, here I am, here we go, and you're like, right, well, if I do this and if I sit properly, and that's what masking is, right? If I sit like this and I and how I speak and how I look, and I'll make sure I really look at you, and then there is a chance I fit in. There is a chance now I fit in because I've done what's socially acceptable. Whereas for loads of us, we would rather stand up, pace about, take the shoes off, not look it in the eye, I'd rather look in the corner, blah, 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 which is not socially acceptable.
Yeah.
So how you show up based on all of that and where you are with your journey of, if like us masking and all the other stuff, it's really fascinating.
It's so fascinating. You know, when you were saying before, like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a bit more brutal than that, because I think that you've got to also prepare people.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it is brutal. And if you for example said to somebody, look, just put yourself out there, everybody's going to love you, it's going to be fantastic,
well,
then I think it could
life.
be setting people up for failure.
Right. And in the work that you do, you want to get people to be themselves, right? But there's be yourself in a circumstance where you might think you're going to get some kickback, and there's be yourself, let yourself all hang out. And there is also this idea for me about professionality as well, right? Because at the end of the day, if every one of us all let ourselves all hang out, we'd be on a totally different planet. Now you can see the people who do that and the impact that can have, but I would like to win customers. I would like my business to keep going. I don't need to be liked personally, but I would like to have enough about myself that people will come back to me and want to work with me. Now, if I said at any point what's really going on in my head most of the time, that would stop. That would stop, right? Because you have these thoughts, and we're all human, but our thoughts are racing around, and our initial reaction might be not what someone would expect. An hour later, it'll be totally different.
So when you say thoughts, then are you more meaning like how you feel about certain things rather than your opinion about things?
Yes.
So, for example, because Gary Vee, I don't feel holds back.
No.
And he allows himself to change his mind.
Yes.
And because that's another thing that I think people are terrified of.
To change
but
your
what
mind.
if I say this and it's actually wrong? But so what?
But if I go back and look at some of the teaching that you two were both on with me, right, when I was delivering, I wouldn't deliver like that. I wouldn't deliver necessarily with those slides and do it the way I did it then. I would change not wholly change, because I think it was good enough as it was for the time, but I've changed my mind about some of the ways I would have done stuff, right? So I can either think, well, I was wrong then, or I've got more knowledge now about the people who are sitting in front of us and what they are likely to need.
But that's, and thing is, that's what makes you different to a lot of other people. That's what gives you the ability to be where you are now, as opposed to just wishing that you were where you are now, because you've allowed, first of all, one of the most important things of all, which people don't do because you have to do things badly first, is learn from your audience.
Yeah.
And
always.
When people are like, well, I can't put this out there because it's not perfect yet, and I'm like, but you can't be perfect until you've put it out there.
Yeah.
Because it's for the customer.
Yeah, always.
So how can it be perfect until the customer's used it and then fed back?
Not in this idea that we're going to get it right all the time is just such a fallacy. Or just because someone else did it like that, we can just copy what they're doing, and it's going to be like that. And it's, what did you say to me yesterday? The only thing we have is who we are in our space at that moment.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's entirely true. So I could look at what you're doing, try and emulate you. What did we used to call it? I can't remember. When we're all copying each other, right? And we'll all jump on that copying bandwagon. But of course that's not going to work. I can't be you. I can't say what you would say. I can't have the same skills as you because I'm not you. And there's only you can do it the way that you do it. So therefore there's only you can talk about it the way that you do it. And yes, we might learn from others. We might learn about styles. You know, the people who stand out up and are like Gary Vee, like some people think is outrageous, some people really love him, some people don't give a shit either which way. So you can stand there and go, God, if he can do that, so can I. But only within your own remit of doing something similar. Because just because he can't doesn't mean it's going to work for you at all. And which is
another thing that's going to set you up for absolute disaster, failure, and a bad sense of self-worth if you love a certain person and try and emulate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you go out there and then you try and be the way that they are,
But what the question for me is why do you want to be like that?
Well,
right? When you look at that person, what is it about that is so appealing to you? Does that give you energy? Does it help you think clearer? Is it just that you love that so much you want to be that person? Well, that is no way to go on, right?
Yeah.
Because we can't be that. But we can learn from other people's styles and how they are, and we can adapt that into a style for us. But if you're trying so hard to be someone else, well, why? Where does that come from? Because you've got to dig deep into that. You know, this idea that we can have a brand that really represents us and speaks to us so we can then go and attract the right customers. You're only going to do that if you're staying true to who you are. My question is do you know who you are? Well, so many of us don't.
And that's such a massive part of the process as well.
Yeah.
So you can spend time learning about who you are. Obviously, you need to do that anyway. That's a never-ending process. But the act of actually putting yourself out there can elevate that process as far as you can press the accelerator and you can just speed up to 100 miles an hour and get there so much quicker, because what you learn about yourself, I think, through personal experience, by putting yourself out there, by accepting that people aren't going to resonate with you, aren't going to like you. Some people, like you just said, some people like you, some people hate you, some people don't give a shit.
No.
But you have to get to that point.
How do you know that?
But you got to that point like really early on, and you were, and I'm not saying that you would have been fully 100% yourself, but you were putting yourself out quite early on on social media
when
as
started.
You are.
Yeah.
And you were one of the, and that's why you stood out to me. Because whenever I went past your content, I was like, I love that. I wasn't even listening to what you were, I wasn't listening to what you were saying. I was actually just fascinated by the fact that you were just there being human. Because
people buy from people, as everybody knows that. And if you step back, why would I buy from you? Because I resonate with you. And also I'm really nosy. I'm literally fascinated by other human beings.
Me too.
Possibly because I don't understand. And I think I've had my LinkedIn profile for about 17 years, right? And I was full into Twitter when it was properly Twitter and it was lush, and now obviously it's destroyed, blah, 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 before it became all this thing at the moment. Because I wanted to talk to people, and I wanted to find out people, and I wanted to get some customers, and I wanted to understand how that all worked. I'm just literally fascinated by people and people's stories. So for 17 years, every business I've had has been revolving around people who are doing their thing to the best of their ability and can get better, and can I help them, right? Can I understand what you're trying to achieve? Can I add to that? Do I not add to that? Do I learn from it? Like in all the mentoring sessions I do, I learn as much back in those sessions as I'm ever teaching. Always. Like I learn all of the time from all of you. Whenever I'm working with anybody, I'll come away thinking, oh, that was good, or that's a response, or I need to remember that kind of stuff. So I think for me, this continuous learning is just so desperately important to me. But my thing is, I just want to help other people get what they want. So you have to go where other people are, and other people are on social media, and other people are in networking, and are sitting in their bedrooms, but they're all over. For me, like one of the things I have been told for my entire 17 years being self-employed is, you're everywhere. You're everywhere.
You are actually.
You're everywhere. But it's told to me as if it's a really negative thing. God, Nick, man, you're everywhere. You've posted again, you've done another thing. And I'll go, but that's the purpose. That's what it's for. And the fact that you've seen it to the amount that you've seen it. So you can either stop following us, which is cool, that's up to you. Or you can have a think about why I'm everywhere. It's not a negative. You've just proven that it's worked, right? Whether you agree, like it or not. You've seen me or you've seen my thing. And that's its purpose, like to start conversations and to be seen.
What about introvert people? So they're still, because in a sense, you don't have to, but it's still a very important tool is to put yourself out there. Because if you're working one-on-one with people, if you're a consultant, coach, whatever that may be, people still want to know who you are.
Absolutely.
To figure out whether they want to work with you. And they might just desperately want to be working with somebody who's more introvert and less like us. But how do people like that do it?
Well, it's like it's like that whole thing, isn't it, right? You've got to find the balance of who you are willing to put out there. If you want to work for yourself, the only way that is going to work is if you have clients. And the only way you can get clients is by starting conversations. People call that marketing. And those conversations lead to sales, and then you have a client, and then you can actually do what you want to do, right? So no matter who you are, introverted, extroverted, anything in between, we have to work out how we're going to get those conversations started. And it might be that you need someone else to do it for you. So when we have all the support that we've got, you know, we might be having those people help us get those messages out. But if we're out there talking about our business and who we are in our business, we're not there talking about our personal life. We're talking about us in our business. So I think there's a distinction between that perhaps if we realise that would let us do it a little bit more easier.
But that's right? Overlapping more and more though, isn't it?
I think yes, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, time would tell for the people who are doing it. You know, but each one of us has to think about what am I prepared to share, what do I absolutely not want to share, and where does that fit, and which tools am I going to use to share the things that people can read, see, watch, absorb, that will make them resonate with what I do as a business person, not as a wife or as a thing or as a thing or as a thing. Like, as a business person, I need customers. What am I prepared to share? And then it's like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? I remember talking about people making jewellery and stuff and just saying, you know, don't put your whole face in it, put the jewellery in it with your hands perhaps, and you're talking. So we're not having that whole, I can't be seen, I can't have my face out there. But we're seeing a little bit of behind the scenes, right? So we have to decide, don't we, who are we and how much are we willing to put out there if we want to do this? Because the purpose of that is to start a conversation so we've got a business.
But that's where the authenticity word,
the word that
we
is so overused,
love so much.
It's overused for all things.
I think it's scaring the shit out of people, because people are now thinking that in order to be authentic, they have to come out and start talking about their personal life.
Right. Now, what happens if you don't know who you are? What happens if, like me, you are waiting on a diagnosis of autism ADHD that you didn't even know you needed, right? So my hypothesis in all of this, for those of us who are neurodivergent, is how can you be an authentic self if you don't know what yourself is? You can only be authentic if you actually truly deeply resonate with yourself in the first place, right? And loads of us do not know who we are. So I come back to when I met you two, 2017, 2018, I was working with, 160 small business owners, 40% of whom now are diagnosed, but weren't. None of us were in 2018. So there I was bleating on about authenticity and all of this stuff, where nearly half of that audience didn't have a clue who they were. Well, what then does authenticity mean? Like, you're literally masking up. You do copy others. This is why we look to others, and I'll just do it like that because it works for them. But that's not to say it's going to work for you. But if you don't know who you are, how do you do any of this stuff, right? Yeah. And that's been really fascinating when I'm looking back sort of 6-7 years ago thinking, God, look at us. Like, none of us knew we were autistic or ADHD or whatever. And yet we've all managed to stay together for one reason or another, supporting each other in different ways. But none of us knew who we were. I certainly didn't. I knew I didn't fit in. I knew I was a bit weird. And I knew couldn't work for anybody else. And I knew all of these things, but I didn't know why. Now I do.
What's changed for you since you've discovered why?
I've accepted my weirdness. And I will reclaim that word, thank you very much, because I'm allowed to call myself weird. I don't know.
Why did you think you weren't allowed to call yourself weird? What's being said?
Oh, because it's one of those words there. I'm not weird. I'm just autistic, or I'm not weird. But I am weird.
But you're allowed. Would people get offended?
Yeah.
If you.
Oh, people get offended with everything.
I'm definitely.
I get offended. I get offended with things.
Do you?
Yeah, of course.
But if it's.
Just as much as you do. It might be different things, but we're all human.
Right? I will find the thing that offends me. I will find it, and I'll hold my hands up. But at the minute, I'm actually bored of people. This is being offended. This is terrible. I'm bored of people being offended by everything. I'm so fucking sick of it.
I think there's so many of us who haven't had a voice, right? Have found a voice. So now we're like, I've got my voice and I'm going to say shit. And I love that, right? I absolutely love that, no matter which minority group it is, no matter who you are, no matter what. However, as we talked about, the level of raggy hatred, I find challenging for me because I absorb that. So in the communities that I have been part of and take myself out of, you would just find a bunch of people who've gone, I have a voice now, I'm going to stick up for myself. Awesome, do that, please. But what I'm going to do with that is just go on a rant and hate everybody else. But I'll always come back to it. If I didn't know about my own self, how can I expect or blame others for not knowing?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I didn't know I was ADHD. I knew I was different. I didn't know I was autistic. I've only just come to that conclusion now. I knew I was dyspraxic but didn't have a name because I've been dropping and clattering all my life. If I don't know what that's about, how can I expect every other human out there to know? So I can't judge them for not knowing if I don't know. When they know, when I know, that changes, right? That changes the narrative. But if the narrative then just becomes, I don't know, part of the grief cycle, isn't it? When you get diagnosed, you're like, shit, like all of that makes sense. And then you get angry for a while because like your life could have been different. At some point, we'll have to make some kind of peace, or else you just stay in the raggy angry mode. And that's what we're seeing a lot of people.
But and then there again though, I didn't go through that. I genuinely, so I've got, like, I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I've got my school reports and it literally says on them, it's like she wants to disassociate herself from the class. And I looked at that and I felt really sad for that girl.
It's really sad.
Yeah, but I didn't feel angry at the teachers or the system or anything else. I just didn't, because they didn't know any different.
Exactly, and so we go through these cycles, and whichever bit we're in and whichever bit's relevant, it is really sad because if they had known, if you had known, and we wouldn't, because girls certainly couldn't be ADHD or autistic till about 10 years ago apparently, you know, if we'd have known, what difference would that have made? It might not have made any difference at all, but it could have made all the difference in the world.
Definitely could have,
right? Definitely could have, but I'll also argue, because I didn't know, through all the pain and the clotting on, I have a resilience that most people don't have, because I have to, because you just have to. So, you know, each one of us, whether we run a business, we're getting these diagnoses, all of this stuff, we have to make our decisions and hold our own space, hold our responsibility. I have a big problem with people blaming everybody else. Yeah. That irritates me to death. And half of the time, I don't think people even know they're doing that. But it's always about somebody else. It's about the employer, it's about the teacher, it's about the parents. And maybe all of those things are true. But do we want to spend our entire lives
and living in the past? Exactly. In that, right? Use that knowledge and everything, the experience, everything that you've got now. Use that to make your life better now going forward. That you do know, and don't waste your time getting angry at people who don't get it, because you were just wasting time on those people. Yeah,
and I would love everybody to get it. I'd love everybody to know what it's like for an hour in my brain and how I think differently, because I know I do, because I'll sit often thinking, why am I the only one seeing this? Like, nobody else is getting all this big picture stuff, or the joining the dots, or like everybody's in their own silos or whatever, and I'll sit there going, am I genuinely the only person that is getting this? And now I come to the conclusion that often, yes, I am. That's lonely, and I'd love people to see what happens in my head in an hour. That being said, the double empathy problem is, you can't know what it's like for me, but I sure as shit don't know what it's like for you when you can put the washing in, wait for it to finish, take it out the washing machine and go and hang it up. Yeah. That is a miracle to me. What kind of brain must you have to be able to put the washing in and to remember and then go and hang it up?
Like, an hour or two after that, you've actually thought about washing.
Or just
blows my mind, and that you've actually gone and got it out.
But you've remembered that you put it in. Yeah. Like, I put it in, turn around, and it hasn't happened.
Exactly.
So, like, by the time the fourth wash, and I've got to actually stand at the washing machine waiting for it, because if I walk away, it doesnn't exist.
But then can I stick up for the people who don't have any, or the neurotypical people?
Yes, other humans. You can stick up for anyone you want.
Only because I just want to play devil's advocate and say, it must piss them off as well.
Of course it does.
So as much as we get pissed off that they don't understand why we're like this,
right,
they get pissed off because they're like, why are you like that?
Yes, because that's double empathy, right? So, but the thing with us is that we get blamed for it. We're the ones that are wrong. It's our fault, right? And it's not. We're not choosing to do things just to piss you off. We're not choosing to do things to hurt, cause harm, to be a pain. So it's always about that the blame shifts with us and the blame lands with us because we're the ones that are wrong. We're 20% of the population. Don't agree with that at all. You know, so it's our fault. It's our fault. It's our fault. But we were born as we're born, right? And I think that's where I would not stick up for others if they're just going to blame me. But what about you? Look at what you're doing. Are you making that any easier for me because you know about this stuff? I agree, it must be torture for my husband sometimes with me just in the house, and he will tell you not. But I mean, I'll be looping on the same conversation for 3 hours later, and he's like, but we've already talked about this, we've already talked. Nicola, yesterday we talked about it, but now I have to loop and loop and loop until it makes sense. I must drive him mad.
Yeah.
Must drive him crackers. But I recognise that. I also recognise it's not my fault.
So does he tell you that you don't drive him crackers? Does he never...
Yeah. It never bothers him. Well, I think it must bother them. But
does it never bother him that you haven't taken the washing out of the machine or you haven't put it
never care. Because he just comes from a why get bothered about that?
Yeah.
It's just washing. Like, so here's a completely different sanguine opinion of these things. He gets bothered about things that you would get bothered about.
Yeah.
Dirty washing or smelly washing or washing that's been washed 62 times. He's not bothered. Eventually he'll just take it out. He'll just take it out.
Yeah.
And just because he'll know I'm on some. If I can't do it on that day and it needs to be taken out, he'll just do it anyway.
Oh, bless him.
I know, bless him. If you're watching, Michael, you're gorgeous.
Aww.
Right, but that's the point, isn't it? Right, but I do this stuff back for him.
Yeah.
Because we all do. That's how this stuff works.
You balance each other out, don't you?
And that is this whole thing in business as well. Who do we want to work with? Who are the clients we want to work with? Who are the partners we want to have? You've got to balance each other out. You've got to have some fun. Mm-hmm. And the minute we're all raggy and blaming each other and having a proper rant about stuff, that is just so counterproductive. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean to say that the feelings aren't valid. I would hate to invalidate anybody. But I just find it personally, it's just counterproductive to getting anything done.
Yeah.
And what about, how much does it irritate you? So I'll swap this now and I'll become the interviewer. How much does it irritate you when people just talk about shit all the time?
Like
and
ADHD, for
nothing
example.
or anything.
Well,
anything. They'll just talk,
yeah.
and there's no action.
And it becomes, when it becomes their what's the word? Reason for existing, reason for business, reason for everything. But actually they don't take any action to,
Yeah. So it's just
badly.
a loop.
Yeah. And
you're sitting there going, if we can get this moved forward to here, then I can already see what's going to happen, you see. I know you can't, but I can see it, right? But then we take no action. We just carry on talking about it for the next 10 years.
Yeah. Oh. Badly. Very, very, very badly.
But also, I think the trouble is we can see things, we can see how it could be, but that's not our responsibility.
Yeah.
It's not my responsibility with whomever I'm working with to make sure it happens. All I can do is sit with you, talk with you, look at it through, make the suggestions. I can't do it for you.
So you know the whole the sexism issue, which
and where we're going with this, Anna?
So I'm not going to say who this was, but somebody that I know was talking about women's rugby, and like this person loved the women's rugby, had been to the women's rugby, and was talking about how great it was, and then somebody had stepped in and said, "Do you mean the rugby?" And this person had went, "Yes, sorry, I meant the rugby." And then they were like, "Well, why call it women's rugby then?" And it was like they were just picking on something, you know. It was said purposely to try and make
to cause a reaction.
said person feel bad, cause a reaction, when actually they hadn't thought anything of it. And then now it's become, right now I'm frightened to say women's football, women's rugby, blah, 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 because I know I'm going to get picked up on. But for me, and I'm a woman,
there's a lot of
I don't take offended by, I'm not offended by it at all. Why? Because it's always been men playing football. So why the fuck does it matter that when I was saying women's football, I watched the women's football? Why is that offensive to women?
I think that in an ideal world, anybody doing anything should be just the thing. So there's the football on, there's the rugby on. We're not in that ideal world yet. 5 years ago I wasn't watching
we're not
women's
there
rugby
yet.
on telly. Right?
So therefore...
It's been phenomenal. And those lasses, my God. I think about all the young'uns coming through who've now got proper role models, right? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And maybe in 20, 30 years' time, we'll just say rugby or rugby. It'll be Roses or whoever, right? But right now, we're still in that transition stage where this is almost new and novel. And so we will get it wrong. We will use terminology that will offend other people.
But you see, to me,
but
that
it's
isn't
not
getting
wrong.
it wrong. It's not fucking wrong.
Yeah, to say it's women playing rugby.
And when it becomes the norm, I might say, I've just been to see the men's rugby. Is that now wrong?
No. And that's the flip of it. So if we go women's rugby and we say men's rugby, because it's not just rugby for men, then that would actually be more equitable to me, because there's women's rugby and there's men's rugby, and I've been to see the men playing and I've been to see the lasses playing, right? So that becomes, for me, more equitable. But at the minute, the whole of the last century has been about blokes playing rugby, so it's new and novel.
So
I'm not offended by someone saying, is that women's rugby?
But if I walked past a building site and it was all women, if I then made a point of talking about the fact that they were all female, they were women builders, would that be then, you know, could it I feel like it could just go on, because that is different to say that.
You know, every single person is brought up in the world, they have their own bias, they have their own experiences of being brought up with their parents' bias or whoever's brought them up, and so we're all continuously fighting to actually learn or drop our bias, or we're going to stick in our bias and blah 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 blah. And every single person on the planet, the billions of us that they are doing that at the same time. So there will always be somebody who makes a big deal out of something that you're not even bothered about or didn't even think about. And I suppose our reaction and response to that is the only bit. That's what they talk about, isn't it? You can only control what you're going to think and what you're going to say. And yet I feel like now there are things that irritate me in a way that never ever did, or maybe did and I just didn't even think about it. And I would be probably more likely to speak out about some of that now than I ever have.
Can you speak out? Come on then, speak out about something.
What, on the spot, just like that? I don't know.
What really pisses you off?
White male privilege.
Okay.
Go get me coat.
Sure. Not because I would blame anybody who was white or male or privileged, because that is the society that we've had.
Yeah.
But I find I have conversations where we are becoming more aware of it as a society. We are becoming, and maybe this is the work through ADHD and difference, right? But when I see and hear comments made by people who are of a different gender to me and the same colour as me, and I realise how different it can have been for that person in that circumstance. So
Give me an example.
I can't think of one. I think that there is just this absolute sense that I get when I'm having conversations sometimes that I feel like I've almost lived on a different planet, like a completely different planet. So I will look at boards which are mainly all men still, and I would think, why are there no lasses on there? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
But is it those men's fault that that's the case, though?
I think it's so complex and for so many different reasons, but the world is still set up not necessarily for other people to thrive in the way that I would hope it was.
Yeah.
Right, and I know things are changing, and I know, especially the young ones, man, they've got voices that I wouldn't dare to have, and it's a generational thing, but I still hear and see a difference when you are
Yeah.
a white man.
I agree, and I do agree.
Do I think it's their fault any more than I think it's my fault the way I am? I can't say to that because A, I'm not a white man, and B, the world has been the world for all of these thousands of years, and this is where we've ended up. Now, that's not an excuse, it's just how it is. I recognise it is how it is. I recognise that there are people with money who will do a lot more because they've got money than those who do not have money. Now, I don't agree with that at all, and I have all of that, but is it their fault? I think if you realise that you have a privilege and then keep perhaps exploiting others or keep playing on that, then that's their fault.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Yes.
Do I think it is too complex to talk about on the spot when I'm having a chance to think about it? Probably.
But I mean, yes, of course it's their fault if they do exploit that. But it's just that I did have this conversation a couple of weeks ago with white males who are the most beautiful white males.
Absolutely,
in existence.
I am married to one.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm married to the one that'll take the washing out after 4 days of drying.
And they've actually had backlashes because of society how it is now, even though they are the kindest, most most accepting, most
that is also wrong, isn't
and there's
it?
also that to contend
so I
with
wouldn't
now.
go and attack someone just because of that, but I do recognise a difference in maybe how they've lived or what opportunities they've had or anything like that. But then that doesn't give me the right to then become a complete pain in the arse and go and say it's all your fault, by the way.
Which is what the problem is at the minute though, isn't it? Because that's what people have started to do.
Right, so the blame shifting.
Yeah.
That whole, well, it's all your fault. The whole of the world is your fault.
Yeah.
You represent this, therefore it's your fault. And you're just a canny bloke down the road.
Exactly.
Like, that's no good at all. So, no, that's totally wrong. Do I recognise difference? Yes. Do I recognise differences of people's opportunity? Absolutely. Can I speak of those about anybody else? No, because I only can speak about my stuff. I had a very interesting conversation with a lady who's black who told me categorically, my skin is black and I want to be called black. And we'd had this conversation in a room of delegates. And I think someone had used what I understand now to be a term that wasn't acceptable. And she just sat and explained it all, right? From her point of view. Like, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm black. Can you just say that?
Yeah.
It wasn't me who'd said it, but it turned into this really fascinating conversation. Of course, I have no idea what it's like to be anything else other than me.
Yeah.
But to hear her speak of it, I was like, okay.
But isn't so? Okay. That's great though, because if everybody just spoke like that and said, "Actually, guys, this is how it is," rather than "You've offended me,"
right. There was no blame.
That.
It was just, but I am quite sure she must get sick to death of having to explain that.
Definitely.
At some point, she must go home and go, "God, why have I?" Right. So with us explaining about our ADHD or why we've done something, I just spend my life explaining stuff to people, and it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, why did you do it like that, Nicola? Why did you say that? Why this? Why that? And I'm like, diddle-diddle. And in one day, you just want to go through your life without having to justify or explain yourself to anybody.
Yeah.
Right? But we keep trying because we'd like to shift the narrative.
How do we do that, though? That's going to have to start from very, very early on, isn't it? There's going to have to be an entire subject about differences.
Well, you see, this is the thing. It's always been there, right? So I don't even understand what, as if
not sort of ADHD and
no, just difference. Like, the thing is, people are scared of difference. People are really, really scared of difference.
But is that not because of the fact that there's not enough? It's not talked about enough in school.
It's not anything enough, isn't it? Right? You're segregated, or you moved, or you put into a different school, or you're this, or you're that, or the other. Because we can't cope as a society with one or two or three people who are remarkably different, maybe in their behaviours or how they look. And therefore what we're doing is always playing to the norm, right? The norm, the majority, as it is, which is all completely wrong anyway, if you actually start pulling that apart. So everything that is set up in our world is set up for a majority of people who act in a similar way. And that's how that is, until that starts getting stripped back and there are people who actually accept difference without being scared, without being challenged, who are not scared to ask questions. But that's an entire societal shift.
Yeah.
That is an entire societal shift.
When
it's too big for us right now on this couch, I reckon.
Instead, then I'll just ask you, when was the last time you did something that really surprised yourself? Is that easier?
Yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
Someone had a go in a way that I thought was...
Like online or?
Yeah. In a way that I thought was inappropriate, unprofessional, not acceptable. And instead of trying to bring them round to what I would always do, was try and placate and bring round and have a discussion and I just went, nah, it's not good enough. You're not talking to us like that.
Wow.
Now, I don't often do that. Everybody thinks I'm this big gob and all the rest of it, but I have a real problem with advocating for myself. And I will try my best always to diffuse a situation, especially when I think I've caused it, which is basically 100% of the time. And therefore I will play all of the strategies out to bring that person down, to make them feel fine and to sort it out. And I just went, nah, this is not on me. This is on you. Not acceptable. Off you trot.
Brilliant. And how did that go?
Fabulous. But I'm still thinking about it today, and it was yesterday. I'm thinking about it today because it was so impactful for me just to go, nah. Because then I thought, well, what have I learned in the last 5 years? What have I talked to you about? However, all of the people, at the end of the day, we've got to advocate for ourselves, right? We've got to stick up for what's right and wrong. And if I think you've been unprofessional and you've said the wrong thing, I would have always tried to turn that round. Out the door, drop. And I was kind of good, like.
That must have felt good.
It's weird. It feels strange.
Yeah.
It feels not my understanding of who I am. But
which is weird because it was everything that you are.
Yep. I will always try and placate and sort out. And almost in the past I've not coward's not the right word, but I've gone to the far ends of a fought to try and go, oh, it's all right, yes, this is on me, that's my fault, or whatever, and I just won't do it anymore, because not everything is my fault. That feels weird.
I feel like I've been the opposite in a way, and it was meeting, Jason actually brought me down a bit with my sort of opinions, and he got me to realise that not everybody wants to hear your opinion on everything. And sometimes it's not right, and sometimes it might be right, but sometimes you just but you don't have to voice it all the time.
Yeah. There is a moment of, do I really need to say this? Do I really need? And when you're impulsive ADHD, that's really hard to control.
Really hard.
It does get a bit easier as you get older, because there's also, can I be bothered with the fallout?
Yeah.
Can't be bothered.
Whereas I used to but I liked it
because it was a dopamine hit.
Yes.
Boom.
Is that what
yeah, it is.
My
it is.
God, I've never thought of it like that.
What you do is, you cause a situation, or are in a situation where you are getting a real dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And aggression, argy-bargy, fighting, like that gives you a dopamine hit like no other. Like, boom, I'm in there, I'm awake, I can think really straight.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here, I'm really present, and I'm in this moment, and I'm about to have a fight. Probably not physically, but, so you highest kite on your dopamine. It has literally released the dopamine.
That's really interesting. I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Especially if we were in a pub, we'd had a few drinks.
Yep.
And that's the worst time to do it. But that's the time
horrendous.
that I would. Or if someone said something there that I don't agree with, I'd be straight in there. Going, come on, then let's talk about it.
Inhibitions have gone down. Bit of alcohol, boom, dopamine in there. But I always found that it was when I was probably thinking the straightest, like I was really, really acutely on it, because I'm in there in that dopamine, which we struggle with, and that's why the ADHD, we struggle with our dopamine release and how we absorb it. But all of a sudden you've had this flood of dopamine, and you're in there, and you're awake, and you've got stuff to say, and you're going to damn well say it.
Yeah.
And then you reflect and think, did that do any of us any good? Me?
Never does.
Never does.
Never does. So now I'll come away and I quite regularly say to him, are you quite proud of me there? Do you realise that took everything in me not to say anything during that? And I didn't. I said nothing. I kept completely quiet. I even didn't have the look on my face of the one that
But did you feel proud of you?
I did feel proud of me.
Good.
It felt really good, because I walked away thinking, no one gives a shit that you think that, or that you disagree, or no one actually cares. And you
can still
nothing.
hold it. You can still hold that opinion because you care about that opinion. And so what happens is you become bothered about what you think and the space that you hold, and it is important to you, and you don't actually need the validation of all those people.
Do you think it's validation? Because I still walk away and I still have this bit between my teeth of I know it was right to not say something, but at the same time, I need these people to know that they're wrong.
But why? What does that give you? See, that's the validation piece. So if you
I can't understand how they can think like that. Like, how?
That's your autism, right? Just saying.
How is it possible? And I
absolutely.
need to know.
Because you can't double empathy problem. You can't see them, they can't see you, right? So you'll sit there going, dear goodness, how on earth have you got that opinion? Where has it come from? We want to deep dive in it because we're trying to understand. The point is do we actually need to? What is that going to give us? What would that, if you sat there, if I sat there with someone from the really far right and all of this stuff, I would try and understand because I want to understand, not because I want to agree, not because I would ever agree, but I'd like to understand how you, as another human being, like I'm a human being, you're a human being, you've come to that conclusion, right? Because maybe we've lived in the same town or we've got the same school. How have you come to that conclusion? Where on earth? And then I think, but what is that going to give me, right? Because I might understand it, but it's not going to change their opinion. So there is a joy in taking someone from a point that they're at over to your side, right?
Yes.
Now that is validation, isn't it? I've convinced them I'm right. They were wrong. They know they were wrong. They've come with me. Look at me. Now, the minute we stop caring about everybody else's validation and are only bothered about what we think, that changes everything, doesn't it? Because then you're not seeking all of that stuff all of the time. You just, I'm sure who I am. I would stand up and say this, I think I'm right. I don't need to fight with you, and I don't need to push that conversation, and I don't need that dopamine hit that way. I'll get it some other way.
Yes.
You know, like...
And someone did say that those exact words to me actually a few years back. They said, why do you need to understand? Right. Why do you need to know why they did that? Why do you need to know that so much? And that's made a big difference.
Yeah, because it makes, what you're trying to do is make sense of the world we're in,
which is impossible.
Totally. But I do think, and I will come back and explain about my autism assessment, which I'm having in January. I really think that for me to make sense of my world and me being in it, I have to try and understand all the people who are around me at the very least, and try and see what they're seeing, because it doesn't make sense to me, my bit, if I don't understand other people or their reactions or whatever. But before, it used to be like so many people. Like I wanted to understand everybody. When I had Mint, I wanted to know everything about every single person to help me understand and therefore be able to help. Now that's is a much smaller circle. Do I understand where people are coming from, and I understand where I fit then?
Do you think you can be close friends with somebody who has such a opposite opinion on things that are really important to you?
I would struggle very much. I would like to think it was possible. Because I would like to think, and always have done, I believe people aren't inherently evil, and I believe there's good in everybody. And my version of good from somebody else's version of good will be different. But honestly, I couldn't. Not if it was so beyond and over there to me. Yeah. And that doesn't matter whether that's right or left or wherever, right? I could not. Because I take that, I absorb those feelings. Like everything becomes like, as if it's mine. Like if someone's full of hatred, I will absorb that as if it's my hatred. Yeah. Oh, no.
Which proves the point of that, you know, you are drawn to people because you share the same values that they do.
Which sounds really, really super sensible, doesn't it? But at the end of the day, and I think especially in the ADHD and us neurodivergent lots, we do get drawn to each other. We do get drawn to the excitement and to the bounce and to the speed and the immediacy, and people who've struggled as well in similar ways, because like, you don't want to feel like you're on your own for the whole of your life, do you? Who wants to feel like that? So you will be drawn to people who have similar experiences, similar things going on. I would find it very difficult to be friend. Well, what would you talk about for a start?
You'd argue, I think.
I mean, it'd be awful. and then you'd never convince either. Oh no, you'd last about 4 seconds.
Every time you had a drink together, it would turn into a shitstorm.
I mean, but I couldn't. Why would I want to be friends with someone who had such completely contrary views to mine? I suppose.
What have you had to unlearn?
Unlearn. Speaking out immediately, definitely. So at work we have the 24-hour rule.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, which is basically, it was for me.
I was set up for you alone.
If you've ever seen Joanne Stanton put a hand on my arm, that means she's invoking the 24-hour rule.
Really?
Yep. What was really fascinating was actually, in every circumstance when I was about to say a thing or do a thing, if I waited 24 hours, my opinion had completely changed. Like, I would not say the thing I was going to say yesterday, right? And that's really fascinating, is by giving yourself that space, by coming away, being objective, just that whole just sleep on it thing. And for those of us who can sleep, right? I found that it's completely different the next day to what I would have done or said in that moment.
Yeah.
So unlearning immediacy.
I think they should have that in a marriage as well.
Oh, 24-hour rule.
Yeah.
Well, it just works, doesn't it? Because
totally,
you just calm down,
absolutely.
right? And then
it's like the thing. Like, it's the same as like when you say the heat of the moment.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Yeah. So, and for us, there's like the heat of the moment, and then there's us, like boom up there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dopamine off it, right? It has been fascinating to try, and I don't get this right all the time, right? I might just write that email, leave it in drafts, come back to it tomorrow, and then often I'll read it and think, why the hell were you going to say that?
Yeah.
What was that? That's not going to help the situation. So the 24-hour rule has been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important, because I've done exactly that. There's been times when a lot of the time, to be honest, Jason has another thing Jason's helped me with. Yeah. He's like, what you doing? And I'm like, I'm writing them writing a message. What are you writing? Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, right. Why are you writing? Because I need them to know this. Mm-hmm. Why do you need them to know that? Well, because it's that I feel like, well, they have to know, but they have to know that, they have to know that I feel like that. And he's like, well, why do they have to know that you feel like that about it? And I don't know. Yeah,
and I do think that sits in the suite of neurodivergence and our reaction, right? Because we feel a sense of injustice. Well, because it's not right, because they have to know, they have to listen to me, they have to understand, right? Because I feel that that situation was an injustice. Mm-hmm. We've got a real high sense of social justice, right? And so when you feel like, oh my God, that was completely wrong, so I just have to, they have to know. But actually, why do they have to know? Yeah. And it comes back to, we're in the middle of that. I have to tell them, I have to let them know. They have to know because I need them to know. And that's just about you, right? It's about you in that moment. It's about me in that moment, because I feel like this is so utterly imperative and important to me right now that person has to be on that journey. But they don't.
No, they don't.
That speaks of us. And when you start learning that, and I'm 5 years into my diagnosis stuff, and I do recognise that, and I've recognised it all my life, right? Why am I stuck in the middle of this all of the time? But I'll spend a lot of time reflecting on that, and then you start pulling it. Why is it so important right now that person knows that thing that they've done wrong? But they don't need to know. They're on a different thing altogether. They've moved on.
When I think back, right? Actually, I'm so incredibly grateful that he stopped me writing so many messages and emails and speaking my mind about certain things that just weren't ever going to make a difference.
They give you a release at that moment.
A release.
At that moment, you get a release.
But then you absolutely do wake up the next day thinking, oh.
I mean, the regret can last for years, can it? Right? So you still think about something 10 years ago. God, I really wish I hadn't said that. Mm-hmm. And I think the older we get, when we've had loads of those moments, you just can't be bothered. I don't want. It's like getting a hangover, right? I can't be bothered now. I've had plenty of hangovers that have lasted 4 days, and I've been off for a week. Who can? I'm 50. Can't be bothered with that now.
I still give myself the odd hangover.
Well, I probably, yes, but like, you know, that is so totally different.
Yeah.
And it's like that responsiveness. And especially when you're running a business, what you don't want to do is keep going on like that and lose all your clients.
I know.
Damage your reputation. Nobody wants to work with you. What we're going to do, work in a supermarket.
Exactly.
You know, because that's the alternative. I think it's about learning consequences, isn't it? Or really deeply understanding the consequences of those moments. Maybe it's just getting a bit older.
It's also to do with maturity as well. I mean, let's be really honest about it, right? It is quite childish to be like that as well.
I think that, yes. I think that sometimes I've looked at my behaviour in the past and thought I was like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, I taught
having a tantrum.
I've seen tantrums on the floor in a classroom, and I can recognise my behaviour in those 4-year-olds. So I was a canny teacher, man. I just lie on the floor and I'll kick my legs with you. I've done that before, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, I did it in a classroom once. But I do my head in. So I lay down on the floor and start bashing my feet. And they all stopped, funny enough, because all went, "Miss, what are you doing?" And like, it's little, and they were just tiny. And I'm like, "Well, I'm doing what you're doing. Shall we just stop?" Right, we'll agree to stop then. And we did. Anyhow.
Well, it worked then, didn't it?
Well, because, I mean, imagine seeing your teacher lying on the floor having a paddy just to prove a point.
I know. I went to a school in Blythe, so we've seen seen all sorts from the teachers there.
I'm sure, in all sorts. Teachers are humans as well.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair to them, how they put up with the shit that they had to put up with.
Do you know what? Like, for me, it was never about the kids or the families or any of that, or the SEND kids. I loved them, obviously, because I was one and I just didn't know it. It's just the structure, the governmental expectation structure. You know, in school, it's like a business, and you forget there's actually small little humans, like there's small little humans that we're supposed to deal with. However.
Is there something that people get wrong about you? So people who see
that
you
just
on...
made me tummy flip.
Did it? You know how people view you on social media, for example, but they might think of you as this or that or the other. What is it about you that people get wrong?
Oh God, that's really challenges. I think sometimes I'm perceived as this. How dare you? Who do you think you are? Like, you told us nails. Oh, I've been called bossy more times than Nicola, so that's, yeah. But I think people have no clue how much things deeply impact or hurt me at all. And I wouldn't want them to, so I don't know why I'm saying it out loud.
But why would you not want them to?
Because that's my business, like, right? So, you two were both members of Mint, right? And I always knew that people wouldn't stay there forever. Because why would you? Because if I was doing my job right, you'd probably have learned some stuff and bob off, or it wouldn't be the right time. But when people left, especially people I really liked, it hurt so much. I could lose hours and hours and hours of people leaving the membership. Because I liked them and I invested in them, even though rationally it was like, oh, well, there was always a reason, I'm going off to do this. Or sometimes people had shut their business and left. And I still had that proper RSD. And
it would feel, rather than a business, absolute personal.
I would feel kicked to bits.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, okay, this just doesn't matter. You don't have to lose touch with them. Blah, 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 blah. You haven't done anything wrong. You have not done anything wrong. And that would take us days. It would take us days to get right. Not with all people, but people who I was close to. And I think there is a definite feeling sometimes for me that people don't realise I'm ADHD as well. Everybody thinks I can just do everything. And I can do a lot. And I'm good at what I do. But I have
It's
the
probably
same
because
feelings as everybody else.
yeah,
right?
because people see
Right.
you doing a lot as well, and they probably think, well,
Yeah.
I couldn't do that because I'm ADHD.
I get quite a lot of that. How, well, you obviously can't be like us because you've done all of this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, but I am like you, and that's why I've done all of this.
And all they see is the tip of the iceberg, and they
Right.
don't see all the stuff
Yeah.
going on underneath.
I'm as soft as shit, and lots of you have seen it. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people who don't know me well think I'm a big, loud, bulgy, gobby, hard nut, and I am not.
Yeah.
And that's fine. They can see what they like, and I wouldn't. You know, we all go home after a bad day and we behave how we are. I don't want anybody to see that and know that. It's not their business to know that. But we all perceive of each other, don't we? We perceive, and our perceptions are not correct.
Yeah.
Like, everything's based on, oh, this might happen or that might happen. I can't possibly post on social media because this might happen. It's just a made-up narrative. That's the thing I really stick by now.
Yeah. Which is another reason why, if you don't put yourself out there, people will just make up a narrative of you
right.
anyway.
So you might as well put yourself out.
You might
right?
as well, yeah.
Own
You might as well
narrative.
make that narrative what you want it to be.
Absolutely. You look at famous people, don't you? And people say stuff, and I always sit there and go, "That's an actual human being." Like, in all of this tabloid detritus and everybody's opinions, it's a human being stuck in the middle, and only they know about that situation or whatever, or what really happened. And yet everybody's got all these opinions. It's horrible when you watch it. It's
horrific.
Horrible when you watch it. But it's all just perception and made up shit, and none of it's real.
Yeah.
Right? None of it's actually real. And yet we're actually hammering another human being who's like us. And maybe they have got more and they're more privileged and they've done better, or whatever your perception is. But our perceptions are bullshit. Like,
but I think when you're really happy, when you are genuinely happy and content, you don't feel jealous of the fact that someone's got more money than you, or they've got more this or more that or more the other. It's only when you're going through something yourself that side of you comes out. The jealousy side is when you're not happy yourself.
I think so. It's something that I don't recognise in me at all ever. The jealousy thing. I'm too busy blaming myself for everything that's gone wrong. There's no room for that kind of emotion. I don't know I've ever felt properly jealous of somebody else having something in my life.
What about where they've got in business, for example?
Jealousy? Nah. Like, I can look and go, how did you get there sooner? How did you manage to build that to that? Because what I've seen, does it match that outcome? But that's just a curiosity to learn, so I can learn how to do it better. It's not a jealousy thing. Like, look, at the end of the day, how many Nicola Janes would you need? Dear God, just one, thanks very much. I don't want to be like anybody else. I can't, I've tried. I came to the conclusion after all of this stuff, I wanted to fit in my whole life. All I've ever wanted was to be part of something and fit in. And I still don't particularly fit in now, but I don't want to anymore. Because, like, that would mean being like that.
Exactly.
I don't want to be over there. I don't want to fit in. I don't want to, do 9 to 5 and take me money. I don't, whatever that is, and there's no judgment on that, but I have always just wanted to fit in. I don't even think I know what fitting in actually means. What does that mean? I still don't fit in. But I just don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
That's probably an age thing, though, eh?
I think so. Because I don't want to. I would go out of my way to not fit in now. Because you do get to a point where, well, you don't want to be like other people. You don't want to.
Right.
You get comfortable with yourself.
What is fitting in? I mean, this is a discussion because I don't know. Like, if you have aspired or wanted so desperately to fit in, what the hell does that even mean? Does that mean...
Because when people say normal as well, what's normal?
Well, that's just,
who do you know who's normal anyway?
Nobody. What the hell does normal mean?
Exactly.
But fitting in, do you want to be part of a gang of girls? Did I want to be always liked and respected at work? I mean, what does actually fitting in mean?
No idea.
And yet have been striving for it for all of our life? What the hell is it? This is it. It's like, what does fitting in be?
We're going to have to do a whole conversation on that one time, because I find that really fascinating.
Well, I do, because we all we're all made not to fit in. People I work with, I know, who are diagnosed like me, we're made not to fit in, but like what were we trying to fit in with, and what does fitting? I'd love to know what fitting in means to someone who's neurotypical.
When you say made not to fit in, though, what do you mean?
Well,
do you feel like other people made that how?
Because comments, because statements, because exclusion.
Thankfully now it's getting more accepted, but also it's cool now.
It's cool now to be different.
Be totally different, which hopefully will also mean it's cool now to just be you.
Yeah, and just be you, right? Because that's the point. Because you can't be anybody else.
Exactly.
That you just can't. But that has been desperately uncomfortable for me personally for a long time. Just being me. Who am I? What am I supposed to be? I'm not a mum. And my first marriage doesn't exist, and the friends I had aren't there anymore, and like I'm obviously just a complete failure, right? And that comes from lots of society where you're supposed to have a big group of friends, and you're supposed to have kids, and your marriage is supposed to be idyllic, and you're supposed to have a really good job and hold a job down. And across the board, I have like literally failed at most of that. I've done plenty of other things, but that is the societal expectation of us. And also
goes back to the fact that you only remember your failures, when actually there was only a couple of not failures, what society classes as failures, but actually gazillions of amazing things that you've done and achievements.
And we do hang on the failures, the perception of failure, because other people don't fail. Clearly they're all normal, they're all getting on with their thing, and they can go to work and they don't get into trouble, and they're not nearly disciplined in every single job they've got, or nearly lost every single job, right? So people have normal existence, and that is to be strived for, except is it?
So I guess when we say normal, then, when we're in normal existence, we're probably...
It's just a majority,
it's
isn't it?
Someone who has a 9-to-5 job, gets paid X amount of money at the end of each month, goes on 2 weeks holiday, gets married, stays in their first marriage. Neither of us did that.
No. I mean, he's not going to watch, but if he ever did.
And then that's it, and then you get to pension age, and then you retire,
and then you die,
and then you take up,
because that is the standard life,
boring hobby.
Standard life.
Yeah.
I can't be doing that.
So it's
Do you not think it's when you
I can't believe you sat there this quietly, right?
Can't either.
For this length of time. I've been expecting you around here, to be honest.
I've been shifting the machine.
I know, I've been seeing it.
Do you not think that expectation of fitting in comes from right at the beginning in school?
Yeah.
When everybody's taught in a specific way, everybody's taught in the same way, everybody's expected to behave in the same way, and it's ingrained in you right from then.
From being very,
from
very
the books that you read as well, and the movies that you watch. It's all with, you know, the husband and wife, the 2 children, the perfect life, the perfect house. Because like you watch all the old, the Christmas Channel. Have you ever watched I watched these cheesy Christmas movies.
It's that whole
and they're all, it's
utopia,
exactly
right? All the time.
Women who they get out of bed and look like that, and they find this perfect man who always looks like that, and then they get together and the houses are perfect, unlived in,
and they have the perfect kids, and it's such a... I don't think it was true then, whenever then was, right? Because as humans but it was just almost that 1950s beautifulness, and you draw a house when you're a kid, and the house has the windows and the door. Everybody's got to have the same house, haven't they?
Yeah.
And what about all those bairns that don't have a house?
I feel like
people who don't have a house.
My kids would probably draw, this is mum and dad. Mum's drunk here. Here's dad. Here's dad. Do you know what I mean?
But it's the rules. It is what we get brought into, and also the expectation of those roles as they were, and still are, as a female without kids. It is very challenging sometimes to hear other people's expectations or thoughts on that.
People have got expectations of how you should be as a mother as well.
Well, exactly. So you are judged for being a mother. I'm judged for not being a mother.
Absolutely.
Everybody just judges everybody. Everybody just needs to chill out. What does that mean? Like, how do you chill out? Like, how do you do that? But like, if we
stop judging,
stop for a moment and stop judging each other, and just kind of went, your circumstance is different to my circumstance. There's no right or wrong in that.
Walk a mile in. What's that quote about walk a mile in a man?
Shoes. And
but what's the rest of it?
There is I don't know. But I mean, we get the idea that what you're trying to do is see what it's like for you. So we're going back to empathy. Can you know what it's like for me? Can I actually ever know what it's like for you? The answer is no. And
you can't spend your whole life either trying to be empathetic towards every single person, because they're all different circumstances, experiences, everything. So there's only a certain... we have empathy, but at the same time as people understanding your ADHD or your autism, or people understanding this and people understand that, and me understanding that you aren't like that,
it's too much. And yet that's what we try to do. That's what I try to do all the time. I understand all of it.
Yeah.
And that's where, for me, the burnout comes from, not least just the environmental everything that's always there, and all the voices, but the burnout from trying to understand.
And this is what I'm like if I'm watching a documentary or I read about something, and then I'll spend the next 2 months researching it, because Jason, for fuck's sake, and I used to, right, you need to stop it now. And I'm like, I know, but isn't it really interesting that they thought this and everything? And they'll obsess, and then that's parked, and then it's the new thing.
I will find, if you know when you're watching something, and I don't know, it's people living in the Amazon or something, and I'll be looking going, is that like your life? Like that's your actual life? I do this in my life, here in this situation. That's your life.
Yeah.
That's your, actually right now, if I came to see you tomorrow, you'd be doing that in that way in your life right now at the same time as I'm doing that. I find that mind-blowing. People's lives can be
imagine
so
how
different.
Mind-blowing they would find
to come in our spot.
To listen to the types of things that we actually worry, care, stress about.
What are you bothered about? Like,
it would what is that?
What
is that? Is that survival? No.
Well,
but in our world, it is survival.
We're very pampered, man.
Yeah. Survival mentally, though.
Yeah. You know, people forget how much we have got now, and lots of people haven't got anything, and I get that. But compared to many others, we're quite lucky.
Extremely lucky.
I don't know. But, yeah.
Nicola.
Yes, Anna.
Thank you.
Could just go on, although I feel like I've come to a natural end now. I'm knackered.
Absolutely. I'm just so happy that you've come. But we've got more.
Well, probably.
Well, we need to speak after if you get your diagnosis as well.
January. All signed up for January. What is very strange, what I found very strange, is when you get one thing and you understand about it and you manage it. For me, the medication I've taken has been absolutely life-changing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go, I've got this sorted now. And then all this other stuff starts.
Now you've got to start from scratch.
Starts coming in, going. But I thought I was sorted because I've done that and I've done that. And what's this bit? Why am I doing that? What's this bit? Why am I doing this? And then all of a sudden, the other stuff presents because you've managed that.
Yeah.
Managed that. Now I've got all this other stuff, and I'm like, I still don't understand what's going on.
I was good because I did that. She put me on the medication, and I had this moment of intense clarity.
Yeah.
And I was on a Zoom call at the time, and I actually said to the person I was speaking to, I said, I'm sorry, I just have to stop and tell you this, right? I've just been put on this medication because I don't care. I'll talk about it. And I said, and for the first time in my life, I'm just having a conversation with you, and I'm literally just thinking about this. Yep. Nothing else is going on, and I feel like such clarity. I feel like I could just concentrate on everything that you're saying. It's
it works.
But then it stopped working.
Did it?
She said to me, the fact that you felt that is a really good sign. We just need to play around with the dosage. Played with the dosage, and I never ever got that back again.
No, but I remember, it's the first time with everything, isn't it? I remember I was in the loft and I had mint, and I think I was doing something, and I remember getting to the end of a task, and it was for about an hour. And you know, like when you're watching yourself from up here, right? Because I'm sure we all do this. I thought it was just me, but apparently other people do it as well. So anyway, I got to the end of this task, and I can remember going, I've got to the end of the task. Like, it still gives me goosebumps because it was so unusual to be able to sit and go from A to B and just do A to B. On that day I could have got the washing out, right? So A to B, and I'm sitting going, what's just happened? I've finished a job all through, and I finished it, and I didn't know what was going on. Like, it was just so peculiar, because of course you're bouncing around and did it, and then you might never come back to this, and I finished a job. And then I was like, okay, so this could work.
Bliss.
Yeah, it was. And do I have the same impact now? No, because I think our bodies get used to just taking stuff, right? And, you know, my guy always said to me, you know, you'll feel it intensely for a while, and then what happens is, and I don't know if this is correct, everybody, but I was told by my psychiatrist that you do start learning new behaviours, and your brain not is rewiring, but you with this medication, of course, you can have those moments of clarity and you can get stuff finished, and you quite like that, so you will start yourself putting those strategies into place. And he always said to us, you might not need the meds forever, you might want to take them forever, but you might not need them, because you will learn and you will start unlearning and relearning some of your behaviours, which I found really fascinating.
Yes.
And at the minute, because all the other stuff, I'm not medicated at the moment, and I don't feel like I have the same highs and lows as I used to. But could that be just because we know about it?
Well, yeah, who knows?
Who knows? It's just,
but it's good though, either way.
It is. So yes, come back and tell you what it's like to do a huge autism assessment.
Yes, let's do that.
It's funny. Never in my life did I think I would be autistic. Ever. Never, ever, ever, ever.
And do you think other people who know autism inside out would be looking at the youth now thinking, are you serious?
Yeah. The ADHD stuff, like Halloween, right? The autism for me, absolutely not. But when I think about the situations where I've been super sociable or super, all the things that you don't expect autistic people to do, or all those tropes, right? It was because I was playing a role. Yeah. Like, absolutely in role. Here I am, I'm a teacher.
Exactly.
Here I am, I'm a business leader. Here I am, I'm delivering training. It's because I was absolutely rolled up.
And actually, the teachers that the kids remember the most are the ones that turn up and be themselves. So even if you're like a little bit wacky and a little bit like going off the and you come back to the subject, they're the ones that Ollie talks about. So Ollie specifically mentions a certain teacher, and it's because this teacher is not teachery. If that makes they're not teachery, so they all love that teacher and they learn loads from that teacher. Yeah. Because they're not teachery.
Bet they're ADHD.
Yeah?
Guarantee it.
I bet they don't roll on the floor and kick the legs.
I used to also be under the desks counting in twos with the blocks, and I got wrong for that. My deputy head made it quite clear that that wasn't appropriate, and I said, what am I supposed to do then? Because they're all on the bellies, and if you can see, they're all counting in twos, and if I make them sit at the tables with the pen and the paper, they won't. And she kind of went, and it was all this hoo-ha. So I made one of the kids count to 2 for her to about 498 and wouldn't let her leave the classroom, because she actually came to me and said, I didn't think those kids could do that. I said, what they can't do is sit in a chair with a pen and a piece of paper. That does not mean they can't count. Anywho, I was very cross on that day because I got properly hauled in front of the kids. Every time in front of the kids. Why are you down there, Miss Little? Why are you? And I kind of went, why don't you join us and see what we're doing?
That's undermining your position in front of the kids.
Oh yes. Oh, that happened a number of times.
Oh man!
But I wasn't very teachery because
I was going to say you would have been the least teachery teacher.
And I mean, the trouble is I tried. I wanted to fit in, and all teachers do it like this, and therefore you have to do it like that because they've all been in the jobs for years and years and years. And of course, that lasted for a whole half a term or something, and I can't be like you, and I can't do that like you. I can teach the kids and I can bring them forward, more importantly, but I can't be like you, like that. So I shall leave. Thank you very much. Ta-da! It was 17 years ago.
They must be allowed to be less.
I've got no idea.
Allowed to be less teachery.
I don't know. Like, I'm still traumatised. I can't go into school.
Really?
Yeah.
I hated every second of school. So
I hated personally every second of school. I loved teaching the kids, but I can't go into schools now.
Yeah.
I find it really difficult. Even just thought of it. My friend sent me a picture of a primary school, and it was only a couple of weeks ago, so they must have done like Halloweeny stuff, and she'd videoed this school, right, and said spot the ADHD teacher. So there was classroom, little bit of display, classroom, and then there was this class, and he must have just been bloke teacher, ADHD, like gone out with all of the things. So there was the big skulls, there was the pumpkins, there was the that stretchy white stuff that goes everywhere, and you just got same, boom, same, and she just went spot the ADHD teacher, and I was like, that one there, look at that. And then of course all the kids want to be in that class.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not going to work for you, right? Fun. Like honestly, teaching is such a hard job, and I don't want to downplay that in any way, but there's something about having an empathy and having an energy and having a brain that works a bit differently that you can actually really use to your advantage in a classroom.
Absolutely.
What about all the kids who are like you?
Yeah.
And who will resonate to you because you aren't like teachery. What is even teachery? Do you know what I mean?
Well, because even just even feeling relaxed in a classroom would help you to learn instead of being terrified of the teacher.
And terrified of the kids. I've seen adults terrified of the kids. Especially kids who are different.
Yeah.
I have seen parents and heard parents talk about the different kids and being scared of them because it comes from a place of fear.
Fear of not understanding.
Yeah.
Right.
To understand.
So where does fear come from? A lack of understanding.
Yeah.
You're not like me. I'm scared of you. You're not like me. I don't understand. Whereas I just grew up around thousands of disabled people, not thousands, but my uncle was had all manner of disability, so I grew up around everybody with every single disability, so it was just completely normal, totally normalised. It's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I've seen grown adults scared of 5 and 6 year olds who might be a wheelchair user or who wobble a bit when they walk or speak with the hands or something.
But again, like you said, that fear is.
But that's not. It probably is justified to them, right? So they don't know. They literally haven't been.
Yeah.
People haven't been around, you know, a person with significant additional needs.
So they're going to be frightened that I'm going to be frightened that maybe I won't be able to communicate with you properly. Maybe I won't understand. Maybe I should be doing something that I'm not doing. Yeah.
But isn't that just that whole perception piece again, where you're like, just get to know the person.
Yeah.
And if you can't, ask, or you ask the other person who can communicate properly. I can't do Makaton anymore, but I would ask someone else if they were doing it. Right, show me, teach me, right? So it's just I don't know, for me it's just dead simple, because people are people, like humans are humans, right? Get to know the humans. Like, how long has this gone on for now?
Why are we not taught sign language in school though as well?
Oh, we should be, definitely.
Of course we should, but like there's not enough, because the majority of people don't need it.
Well, we could just scrap RE, couldn't we?
Oh, and cut.